Welcome, everyone, to our Monday, October the 28th, 2024 Business Board meeting. I call the meeting to order, and I invite our treasurer, Mr. Randy Bertram, to call the roll, please.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mrs. Shiver?
Here.
Dr. Urso?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, then Mr. Bertram.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mrs. Shiver?
Yes.
Dr. Urso?
Yes. No public participation, it appears, this evening. It brings us to Board of Education reports and Holly Stowe resignation. Is there anything I read for that, or just take a motion and a second for that?
Motion second.
Is there a motion to accept Holly Snow's resignation from the Board of Education?
So moved.
In a second, please.
Second.
You guys we got to get our timing a little better this
Okay.
evening.
We're gonna work on
I do
it.
request that. Any questions or any with that? Then Mr. Bertram.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mrs. Shiver?
Yes.
Dr. Urso?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. And this brings us to a presentation this evening on the report card highlights and information regarding the 2023-2024 state report card. And welcome Chris Thompson, and Melissa Prohaska.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Some stuff to celebrate.
We sure do.
We get to check here, yeah. We load this up here. It's working.
Yep, there we go.
Awesome. Celebration, the first thing I want to point out is our overall ranking went from a 2-star in 22-23 to a 2.5-star in 23-24. So we're moving up, we're trending upward.
That's huge.
That's a big move. That's a big move for us. The component scores that feed into it, it looks like there's 6 pieces that feed, but there's really only 5 that feed into the overall rating. The college, career, and workforce military readiness is report only. And what the state is now saying is that that will remain report only until the next school year at the earliest. So that could be a part of it. It might, or it could be later on before that becomes another component to the report card. To highlight, where we've increased and got to the 2.5 stars, look at early literacy. We moved up in early literacy in the areas of proficiency, and in the area of improving K-3 literacy for our students that were on realms. That was a big move for us. Also in progress, growth, our students growing over the years. Over the last school year, at least one. Big moves for us, big moves for us. So I put this slide in, so there's no half-star rating on the 5 components that feed in. It's all whole star ratings. So I put this in, so this is where the half-star comes in. It's a weighted piece. You can dive into that if you can't sleep tonight. And this is a written out breakdown of the 5 components that kind of go through. Any questions as I'm kind of going through here so far? So here's the visual for this. So this is the 5 components that feed into our overall rating. The darker blues are the 5 where we get rated on. The report only is marked on there for the college and career. And those numbers that are inside these pieces tell you how many parts go into that overall. So there are 3 parts to early literacy. There's the 1 part for progress, 1 part for achievement, and so forth. So gap closing notes, what are we doing with our subgroups and our students, and are we moving them? So that's why there's 6 components that kind of move into that. And then obviously the graduation component is the 4-year and 5 years. So cohorts. The state in their infinite wisdom came up with this. This is how the pieces are broken down and weighted at the end. So we have our score, and the achievement is 28.601%. Progress the same. And then the other 3 components that feed into it are 14.266 as a weight when they kind of go in. So those are the multipliers that go in that would, when you look back at this one, how we end up at these rankings. So overall, There's some more technical resource. There's a link here if you have some questions, about where those come from. But it's all linked and set and ready to go. So yes, so we are moving in early literacy. We are moving in progress. That will move us more in achievement, which there was a slight improvement in achievement as well. So overall, going in the right direction. Any questions about the report card before I hand it over to Mrs. Prohaska?
Chris, can you say a little bit more about achievement and progress?
Yeah.
So what is achievement?
Achievement is our students who perform proficient or better on the state test. So the percentage of our students that perform better on proficient or better on it, and we get a percent and a performance index score on it. Now that performance index score is kind of a little bit of a moving target. The state takes the top 2% of the districts in that, and how they perform becomes the denominator for our performance index points. And so it used to be 120 was the denominator for each one. Hopefully not to get too weedy here, but after COVID, none of the schools were performing at that top rank. And so the state wrote in that the top 2%, the average of how they perform becomes the top, and that's what everybody else is divided by. And so we get achievement points for all of our students, no matter what they score, but we get more points when they're proficient or better. So the more that we can move there, that percentage is going to go up.
And then what were some of the pockets where we really witnessed some big growth when it came to achievement this year? Like-
Fifth grade reading for sure.
What was huge with fifth grade reading?
We hit our 50% goal in fifth grade reading. We set the mark there. That is 100% of celebration. Yes, Ms. Stewart. And there were some other movements in ELA and math. Third grade, our third grade ELA went up. We're at 43%. We want to be at 50, but we were up from in the 30s. Math was moving in third grade last year as well. And she can give me another highlight
Randy,
here.
you wanna give that to
I don't have them all memorized, I'm sorry. But other movements here. She had the third grade math circle, 23, 24, third grade ELA, and then fifth grade math. All trending upward.
So my understanding, achievement is how we compare, like you had indicated, with other districts and how they are achieving. So achievement is outside of the districts. It's a comparison to other students' schools. Where progress is comparing our students where they were a year ago or against a benchmark to where they finish or how they're moving. And so it's more of a competition within
Yes.
the district. Is that a fair?
That's a fair assessment of it. Yes, its progress is growth of the student
Correct.
in a similar cohort of students. So our students are placed in a cohort based on how they performed, and the EVOS calculation comes in, and based on that, yes. So that is internal. How do they move? Are they moving from point A to point B at a year's growth? Yes.
And is there aggregate data in regards to factors of socioeconomic status in regards to whether it be income or language proficiencies? Or is there data within the data that kind of speaks more specifically to how our students are doing within those layers?
That would be in the gap closing when you look at your subgroups
Okay.
inside there. Yep, and we are making movements there as well. Maybe not as much as we would like right away, but we are moving.
And I always like to explain achievement is, did you pass a test?
Correct.
Right? Did you pass a test, and how well did you pass the test? And then progress is, did you perform the way you were projected to perform? And the biggest piece, and that's what I was asking Chris to highlight. So do you want to pop back to the actual report card?
Yeah.
Right, so and this is what Anita and Verlina, you saw at DLT that we talked a lot about. You're starting to see those achievements score. You're starting to see our trajectory to go in one direction. You know, in the past, we've seen a lot of up and down, but now, especially in math, everything is going up. everything is trending up. And if you think about the work that we've done in the past 2 to 3 years, the systems that we've put into place, you can see now are finally taking hold, and everything is falling into place. We're focusing on fidelity, and everything's moving in the right direction in a systematic manner. And that's what you can see with achievement scores. Also wanted to say the performance index over the past few years. Performance index is where you get points for how the students score. You see our performance index year over year going up 2 to 3 points each year. So it's a system, you can see those incremental increases every year, and that comes from that focused, really streamlined and rigorous the reading and math programs that we've put into place.
Is the third grade guarantee still a function? Is that still required?
It is. It was not written out of the law, but there are other exemptions that come into play.
You know, talk a little bit about that because that comes under early literacy.
So yeah, our promotion score was at 98.8%. That is promotion to third grade. So we are at, so this year our students will have to get a 700 or above on the third grade test for promotion. Last year it was a 690, so that's what we're working here. But we have certain exemptions for students who are English learners. There is the parent exemption. The parent can sign and say, I want my student promoted if they didn't earn the 690 on the test. And so that's why we're at the 98.8, because we had some students who didn't make the score and didn't qualify for an exemption.
What are we able, do we hold kids back if they don't hit that 690, or do they just have to take that proficiency test again?
Well, unless they have the exemption or the parent signature for, because the parent can sign and say, I know that they scored this, but they're automatically on a reading improvement plan, and then they can be promoted to fourth grade.
So some students could be held back?
Could be retained as a result of the law, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes.
In regards to our graduation rate, I know that prior years, I mean, where does that, I guess, compare longitudinally? Is there growth in terms of our graduation rate? I'm trying to figure out the right way to phrase this. Prior years, I've noticed that it was in the 90s. It's in the high 80s to approaching 90 now. I think that's a good testament in regards to if you're traveling through our school district. I know there's a variety of factors. Yeah, could you speak to a little bit more around graduation?
So the 4 and 5 year, obviously, when you look at those pieces, we are down a little bit from the 90% that you're used to seeing. That is just kind of where we're at. It is a year in arrears, so you are correct in saying so. This report card data is for fiscal year 23.
Mm-hmm.
So for next year report card data, the graduation is already completed. It's already happened.
Do we know what that is?
We kind of hover right around that 88%.
Okay.
And it's up in the 5 year because for the 5 year piece, but yeah, we hover right around that 87, 88% again.
Are all schools reflected in the state report card, or is it just the public schools?
Just public. Great question.
Okay. So just the public schools are required to meet the
Correct.
standards that are set by the state? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
I guess my last question, in terms of that college career and workforce and military readiness, how is that assessed? Is that within this? How are they deriving that information?
So it's all reportable stuff that we are collecting and is sent from the high school, reports it to our EMIS department, and it sends over to the data collector. So it's items, our students enrolled into the military, how many, that's a part of it. Our students who graduate, do they have a job? All of those, there's 11 components that make up that report only. So there's a lot of data reporting that comes from the high school for all of our graduates. Most of that stuff is based off of after graduation, where we are reaching out to students asking them, are you in college? Do you have a job? And it's following up with those pieces and reporting that.
And that's reporting on the class of 2020,
So right now, they said that 24, 25 at the earliest.
but this data right
So
here
that would be-
is...
So this data is a year that we just reported.
Okay.
So you also see ACT information in here, you see AP assessments in here, you see SAT. Like Chris mentioned, there are 11 components that you'll see in the college, career, and workforce. Yeah, there are quite a few pieces to that piece. I'd also like to remind you guys, I shared with you a link to, and then also Ms. Scheibert and Ms. Stewart, you received this at the DLT, how each one of our buildings have performed. We've seen quite a bit of growth with some of our buildings. Wildwood grew from 2.5 to a 3.5. We've had other buildings go up by 0.5, so we've seen quite a bit of growth when it comes to the report card. So just refer you back to the summary view that we shared. Yeah,
It's good news, good report.
it is great news, right?
Excellent.
Great questions. Anything else?
Thank you.
Before I pass this over to Mrs. Prohaska.
Thanks, Chris.
I am going to share how we're getting to this great news. It's been a work in progress. Here we go. I'm going to start with ELA. We are in year 3 of our big adoption with Hope Mifflin into reading and into lit. It is the first program, I've been here for a while now, that was consistent from kindergarten all the way up through our high school. So the students have a consistent program that they're building upon each year. In addition to that, we've added common assessments in all grade levels. Our K-5 are using assessments that are within the Into Reading program. And then our 6-12, or 6 through ELA 2, we are using the state system. It's an assessment authorizing system where we build quarterly assessments based off the standards they taught. And they're actually taking end of course questions. They're item released questions, and we build them within the system. So the students are getting assessed on the standards they learned through the quarter, and then they are taking it in the format that they'll see on the OSTs and EOCs. So it's like a twofold support system. The teachers get data, and they informs the instruction on there. So we've implemented the common assessments. Also this year, well, we're in year 2 of the intervention blocks in K-5, which last year was year 1. Saw some great growth on that. This year we are hunkering down. We've already got our systems in place. So it's another year of intervention, the I&E time, that is consistent across all buildings, where students get what they need, extra support in those areas through using the DIBELS program that we've implemented, and it's progress monitoring, and it's benchmarking throughout the year. This year we also implemented this in 6th grade. 6th grade is using the DIBELS program to benchmark 3 times a year and progress monitor, along with supporting their I&E time using the DIBELS in-class intervention software. It gives them activities and things that the students need accordingly, and then also using Orton Gillingham to support our lower students.
Melissa, can you explain what I&E is? Can you give like a tangible example?
Absolutely.
What's I&E? We talked I&E at DLT.
So all schools, K through 6, have an I&E time. It's intervention and enrichment time. And it's based off what they need on their DIBELS score. The DIBELS assess multiple areas of reading. We're focusing on ELA right now. Multiple levels of, do I need blends? Do I need prefix suffix? Do I need more morphology? Do I need, whatever they need, they are grouped accordingly, and they target that area during that I&E time. So in all levels, it says stop, all students during that time have an I&E block. If I need to be enriched because I've already got what I need for my grade level, they also get enrichment time. So that's what they've been doing in that intervention and enrichment time. And all students get it, K through 6.
And how's it taught? With tutors and?
Tutors are in there. All teachers are involved in this program. So they stop. The classroom teachers have a group. The tutors come in and support different groups. EL tutors come in, also support that group. Again, during that time, it's a focused, targeted intervention and enrichment time. This year, sixth grade I can focus on. It's been really a great experience because in sixth grade currently they focus on math. We have math teachers, you have social studies teachers, you have science teachers. Well, they've all bought into the system. They all have an INE and they're teaching ELA. I have a couple math teachers that have learned how to do Socratic circles to enrich and really do some great things in literacy circles for the enrichment for students. So it's been a really overall great learning experience, especially at Highview.
Instructional opportunities through this I and E. It doesn't matter what level they're on.
Doesn't matter what level they're on. They're getting instruction based on what they need
What
at
they
that
need,
time.
okay.
But it's all at the same time. It doesn't matter who. Everybody's getting what they need at that INE, in that INE block.
The benchmarking that's 3 times a year, is it the teachers who are doing the benchmarking?
Yes, the teachers are doing the benchmarking through Dibbles. There's a benchmark, there's a reading, oral reading fluency, oral reading accuracy, all kinds of different, there's phonics, depending on what level, there's different, like our 6th graders are not doing the phonics assessment, so it's based off that set. And it's 3 times a year to see how they grow. There's also progress monitoring on our more extreme intervention situations. They're progress monitoring every 2 weeks too.
What does some of the enrichment activities look like?
I can speak to the 6th grade right now. Literacy circles that with our books that we purchased, reading some books that are a higher level, that are high school level, that support them.
Excellent.
They're doing different types of Socratic circles, conversations, that kind of thing to build
Good.
more of their comprehension and discussion over the literacy.
Good.
Because that's where they're at.
Thank you.
Also, in addition, we're having a lot of family connections. In K-5 this year, we've implemented student-led conferences. We also send home DIBBLE reports, MAP reports, RIMP information that all feeds in together. They get all of that during data talks also for the parents to see. So all that information is sent home. So there's a lot of family connection, a lot of information that's sent home. That's ELA. Any questions about ELA? Okay, moving on. I did very good. So, add about it. Okay, math. I can continue to talk about math. We're in year 3 also. We tackled a lot 3 years ago. Oh, there you go. 3 years ago, we rewrote our ELA curriculum, adopted a new, also with math 3 years ago, rewrote the curriculum. We dove deeper into the 612. We already had a reveal. And then K-5 adopted Eureka, which was a build on what we were already doing just to dive deeper. So we're in year 3. We're seeing some great growth. We have partnered with Hamilton County. We're in year 3 with Hamilton County as a partnership to help us build report's great because it's really talking about good instruction. What can I do differently to support this student, that student? And it's really been a great experience for that. Also, common assessments have been implemented in math. Same, K-5 is using their Eureka assessments, and then 612 is using the assessments that the state, the authorized assessment authorization system. Again, our assessments 612 are built off of what you've been taught, what standards were taught this quarter, and then we assess how you're learning using the format of OST and EOC. Also this year we implemented Zern. K-5 was already using it. Now 6 through 8 is using the program Zern. It's a reinforcement program. It's through the state. It's a free product. The state has bought in with Zern. So it is a state approved resource to support. So this year, again, we've extended it through 6-8, where staff, teachers use it to enhance whatever lesson they're teaching. So if I'm teaching 2+2, They'll assign assignments through Zern to reinforce what standards I'm teaching right now. So the assignment within Zern would be something over 2+2 to deepen their learning over that. So that's how we're moving forward in math.
Can I ask, how often are the teachers meeting with their coaches in math?
Previously, it was a lot more during ESSER time. Luckily, we've had funds that we can continue the conversation. It's not as much this year. Monthly is the goal that teachers will get to meet with them. Our coaches are still coming on PD days, professional development days, and support the teachers that
Okay.
way.
Thank you.
We also had a partnership, I'll highlight this because it's another great thing. 6th through 8th grade teachers, Rachel, our Hamilton County math consultant, she did a lesson study with the staff where the teachers developed a lesson based off a format, and then we had funds to pay for subs, and all day long, the teachers went and watched each other to learn more about what you were teaching based off this format, and then they had deep conversations about what they saw, what the students saw, what different activities they did, what can they improve on. So it was a really soul-searching conversations where you have your colleagues coming in and watching, and we've never had that opportunity before. And they loved it. The feedback, they want to keep doing it. So we're trying to find ways that we can get more times that they can go in and watch their colleagues instruct. So it was a really great experience on that.
Oh, so I'm not familiar with the coaches. So the coaches come in and help the teachers?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
They have been, like I said, a blessing. They have been such a great experience with them.
Huh.
We've also did a book study, mathematical thinking in the classroom, and the teachers, we have over 40 teachers involved in it. They've taken off with it. You'll see sometimes if you do a class walk, you'll see almost like dry erase boards, but they're not. They're stuck to the wall. It's vertical math thinking, so the students can get up, write all over them. That's coming through that vertical thinking and the influence of our Hamilton County partnership with our consultants. So it's really been a great learning experience and growing.
In prior years, it's been talked about how when students are behind, the curriculum's still moving. And so how are we catching students up while also not perpetually always being behind? Because it seems like that system, not very efficient and not very likely to.
It's challenging. That's a challenge when a student's behind, but you have to keep going. We put some things in place. For example, like in high school, we have an intro to algebra class that is partnered with Algebra 1, and it's supposed to accelerate their learning, and they do some extra support of what's happening in Algebra 1. And maybe I don't have that skill of the previous standards I needed to have that skill in Algebra 1, but I'm still learning it, but I'm getting that extra support on the gaps that I don't have during that time. Also, we have 90-minute blocks in K-8 for math. So you have 60 minutes of that core instruction, and then you have the workshop time in math also. That's where you hit those gaps of they don't have of what they're learning right now. So that's how we're closing those and supporting our students to move forward.
Thank you.
Because it's a challenge. When you got to keep moving, but you also have to fill in those gaps to make sure they get the whole picture to move forward. Anything else?
And we saw growth in math, right?
Exactly, and that was just 2 years in, and now we're aligned. We're moving forward. Everybody is on the train. We're moving. So I'm excited to see what happens this year.
And I know we're on math right now, but I do recall being at Amanda and the OG, and we were in a kindergarten classroom, and I remember the two girls, young ladies, that were working through it. And OG is still, and as we bring in new staff, are they being trained in
Yes.
OG and implementing that?
Yes, we have we're blessed to have Terry Benson on staff.
Yeah, I agree.
And because she is certified OG trainer, so at the beginning of the year, we take a list of all the new staff members that are K-12 and align them according to need. And our K-3 immediately get in their second week of school. They're in a 5-week, they come, we have subs that cover for them, and for 5 weeks, 1 day a week, they come here to get their foundation in OG training and get certified. And then we move it up towards the intervention specialists and additional ELA teachers. So they're constantly being reinforced.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Chris
Thank
and
you.
Melissa. The celebration here is that we're moving. We have really turned the corner and we're moving. I mean, we recognize there's still work to be done, but there is a celebration
There's
that we've turned. Yeah,
absolutely
there's a celebration. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Very encouraging.
All right, moving along to the consent agenda. You guys ready? All right, we're going to get these motions in seconds. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
In a second, please.
Second.
Mr. Bertram, anything to highlight in regards to donations?
Yes, I do want to highlight the school class of 1969, if my math is working, 55 years ago they graduated. They did donate a generous sum of $2,083.09, which is going towards a bench that they're having, that's going to be out at the high school. So thank you very much to the class of 1969.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's appreciated. Any questions regarding the contracts that are on there? All right. If there are no questions, then Mr. Bertram.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mrs. Schreiber?
Yes.
Dr. Urso?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. And if I'm reading the agenda correct, it brings us to committee reports. Am I forgetting anything?
Nope, you are not. And we did have a committee report. We had DLT last week, and Ms. Scheibert and Ms. Stewart. Ms. Stewart, it was her first time for DLT. DLT, if you recall, is when we meet, that's district leadership team. So I'll turn it over. Guys, you want to share what you learned at DLT,
Sure.
district leadership team?
Yeah, I will start. I want to first say that it was so encouraging to see all of the principals and the staff that were there on one page and excited about not only reporting out the progress they had made and sharing the results of the report card, but the sense of being a team and being on the same page in terms of instructional content and just their camaraderie around what they were doing. That was so positive to me. I appreciated how they shared all of the successes that the district has experienced and the challenges that they had ahead of them. I really appreciated their sharing out, this is what's working in our building. This is what I've learned from some of the not necessarily mistakes they had made, but this is our learning. This is what was working, and this is what was not working, and this is what we did to correct it. And I think they really learned from each other, and their sharing out was positive. The highlight was the student-led conferences. I think that seems to be going very well, and it seems to be really maximizing the parent and student and teacher relationship during that time. So yeah, that's all that I have, but I enjoyed being there. A morning well spent, and appreciate the hard work that they're doing and the progress that's being seen.
It's the most exciting group to observe. It really is. I took 2 pages of notes because the teachers share out from each building. Principal and the teacher leader is there, among other people. And they have their sheets around the room with their school on it, and they all put down things that, the techniques that work, things they're working on, things they want to do, and what the results are. And so it's like a camaraderie. And nobody's in competition with each other. They're simply telling what works in that building and what they've found, and other people can take it and use it as is. But I was so impressed with, many things. But like one school, they developed a student engagement continuum, which I found fascinating. It was something that they just worked together with some guidance from outside on their own to kind of track student engagement in whatever's going on. And I thought that was pretty interesting. One school commented on how the Orton-Gillingham business at the younger ages seems to be having an effect on even the 5th graders. And I thought that was kind of fun because they're together and they see these different things going on. Schools now that the kids are kind of focusing in and getting more successful in reading at an earlier age, the teachers can find that they can go on to more strategies in like writing, answering questions, understanding what a question is asking. They focus a lot on that. In math, I'm always fascinated with numberless problems because kids will latch on to whatever 3 numbers or 2 numbers they see and do whatever they think is supposed to be going on. So they really aren't thinking about the process sometimes. And the numberless problems help them think, what's the process? What am I trying to use? And this is just like, this is a drop in the bucket. Within that 2 hours we were there is so much information shared that it's very,
I know.
it's heartwarming. It really is. And it makes you so proud because these teachers are working hard. If anybody thinks they're not, well, you can see the numbers, it's paying off. People are on the same page, working really hard. And I think it's showing on the state report card. So.
And the thing about DLT, really it's a time to look at data. And it's time to look at, the report card data. It's time to look at first quarter data. We all have the same goals, right? The 50% proficiency, but it's how each building's tackling that goal. We're all doing the same and we're all doing different. And it's just depending upon the needs of the building. Also wanted to point out, I'm glad that you mentioned the student-led conferences because that's the next part of our strategic vision. If you recall, we have a 6-year strategic vision, so that was due to roll out this school year. And those are. So that's very promising. So, yep, so that's one of, we have 3 additional DLTs to come.
And the really nice thing is it's sort of a competition. But it's not, it's a very healthy competition because they're keeping score of each other and how they're doing in some ways. I mean, you can look at it that way, but it's very healthy because they challenge each other to do better and they learn from each other. I loved that process that's in place.
And they complement each other a lot too.
Compliment, not just kudos to, I don't even know if I should do this, but because all of the schools are doing so well and reported out well, but Mayfield and Amanda both are just doing good stuff. So I just wanted to say kudos to those 2 schools.
Yep.
It's an exciting committee to be on. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a good one. I got 2 good ones. Clever Tech and Deal. Yeah.
So I think that was it for district committees.
Oh, perfect. Thank
Yep.
you. If there's no other committees, Board of Education reports. And Todd, anything to report tonight?
No comments this evening.
All right. Moving down the line, Ms. Stewart.
Yeah, just kudos to the district for improvement on the report card.
And thanks to the teachers for all their hard work and the administrative team that obviously is keeping a close eye on all this business that's going on. I mean, everybody seems to know what everybody's doing, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You can walk in, and it's very easy to understand, and there are people to support, and I think that's why the grade card is moving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate our fall athletes and coaches, say thanks to the coaches and adults that have been supporting our young people, the parents, our fans, our soccer program, cross country, tennis, volleyball, golf, band, cheerleaders, all represented our community and our schools extremely well and do appreciate everything that went into it. I'd like to congratulate our football team. Got a win on Friday. They beat
did.
Fairfield, which was a nice way to kind of end the regular season. Congratulate Coach Jones on his first year. It's a high pressure job in Middletown. And so I am excited for him and his team as they go into the playoffs with some momentum. I'd like to congratulate a few of the football players. It seems were the athletes of the week for the high school. Talon Malico, who is a senior, I know Talon pretty well, has been injured for a majority of the year, and to come out and get the game-winning touchdown on his senior last game, regular season, really excited for Talon. Really nice kid, smart kid, bright future ahead, and hope he stays healthy for track. I know he does a nice job in that too. Dimitri and James, who's a sophomore, has a little bit more time with us, had 104 yards rushing. Troy Tillis, a senior, 10 tackles and a sack. Amorian Bryant. I butchered your first name. Sorry, buddy. He's a senior. He had 6 tackles and 1.5 sacks. He had to share that other sack with somebody. Elijah Harris, a junior, had 10 tackles. To the team, I wish them well as they go and compete. And to our band and cheerleaders, I hope everyone has a fun event, a fun evening, and we can come back next meeting and talk about the victory. The last thing I'd like to say before our next meeting, we'll have an opportunity to vote. I hope our young people do better than we do. As adults, I look at the world, and my hope is in young people. Hope they lead by a better example. Hope they think through it better than a lot of adults do. And yeah, I put a lot of faith in young people that they can do maybe a little bit better than the adults can.
My announcement was going to be the civic announcement once again, that early voting, a lot of people have gotten out, done a great job with early voting. And just a reminder to those that are still registered, you've got a little more early voting, and then you've got next Tuesday. Get her done.
That's right. Finished?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to say thank you to the 1,100 people that completed the survey for redistricting. Also remind everyone, and this is everyone, this is staff, families, community, business partners, our redistricting survey will be open until October 30th. And then once October 30th comes, we'll have all of our voices continue to solicit voice and input, and then we're going to get to work. And then on December 3rd at 6 o'clock at the community center at the high school, we're going to have our feedback session where everyone comes together and we can discuss some possible options with our redistricting. So mark that down on your calendar, December 3rd at 6 o'clock. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Cheryl Bowling and Terry Vincent. They landed a $20,000 grant from Martha Holden Jennings Foundation to extend our Orton Gillingham, working with morphology, which really allows our teachers to take their Orton Gillingham training one step further. So hats off, ladies. District thanks you for that work, and our commitment to literacy just continues. That's all I have.
All right, if that's it, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We're adjourned. You guys did much better as
you
the
see how
meeting went
smooth
on.
me and
Yeah.